Ephesians 4:17 through 19. So I tell you this, and I insist on it in the Lord, that you no longer live as the Gentiles do in the futility of their thinking. They are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. They've lost all sensitivity. They have given themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity with a continual lust for more. So, heart check right off the bat. Does that describe you? I will be honest with you, that has described me many years of my life. That has absolutely described me. Let's give you some statistics here. You can fill in your blanks. Hopefully my thing will line up with yours. If not, yell at me. Okay. More than 70% of men visit a porn site in a month. These are American statistics, okay? In a Promise Keepers event in 1996, over 50%, you guys know what Promise Keepers is? Yeah. Men's conference that was going on in the 90s, early 2000s. Over 50% were involved with porn within a week of attending that event. So these are men that are trying to do the best for their families, and over half of them had viewed pornography within a week of attending the event. 29% of people who claim to be born again feel it is just fine to view explicit sexual behavior in movies. So we're not talking about what people would label as porn movies, but a rated R movie or a PG-13 movie. Yeah, it's fine if I watch that. If I'm in the theater with my wife or kids and there's a sex scene, yep, it's fine for me to just watch that. I can handle it. It's not going to pull me under. In March 2005, 57% of pastors said that porn addiction is the most damaging thing going on in their congregations. That was in 2005. It was 11 years ago. In 2003, 34% of Christianity Today, that's a magazine, if you guys have heard of that or not, Christianity Today, their female subscribers admitted to regularly accessing porn. 34% of females. Okay? And so far, the way we're defining porn is viewing explicit material, whether it be photos, images, or video. That's what we're talking about here. So 34% of women who have a subscription to Christianity Today, who take their walk seriously, a third admit to regularly accessing pornography. 1/6 of them, that's the next blank I think of yours, admit they're addicted. 1/6 of female subscribers to Christianity Today admit they're addicted to pornography. 47% of families say that porn is a problem in their home. That's a 2003 study from Focus on the Family. Next one is 9 out of 10 kids between the ages of 8 and 16 have viewed porn on the internet, and that was as of 2002. 90% of kids before they're 16 have viewed porn on the internet. That's 14 years ago. The largest demographic for viewing pornography is 12 to 17-year-olds. One in seven children who use the internet have been sexually solicited. And that was as of 2002. Are we getting these blanks right?
Yep.
Good so far? Tracking? Okay. In the year 2000, 16 years ago, 1/4 of children were engaging in chat rooms regarding pornography. Holy buckets. That is crazy. Nearly half of all child abductions are due to internet contact. They met them online and then they got abducted by the predator. Okay, so I think I have a definition there on your sheet. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Defining pornography. I don't have it on mine. Okay, here's the blanks, if I can remember the blanks. Definition. Porn is anything that tempts the human heart to desire sexual pleasure or physical, relational intimacy outside of God's design. Let's talk about that definition for a second. I said two separate... I'll use yours this time. I did two different things. I said the human heart to desire sexual pleasure or physical, relational intimacy. What do you think is the difference there? Sexual pleasure versus physical, relational intimacy. This is my own, how do you spell that? I don't know. Intimacy. This is my own definition of what pornography is. This is the definition that I'm going to use with my children when I talk to each one of them about this. Because our definition of pornography in America is not good enough. Not anywhere near good enough. Because people think that porn is just when you visit a XXX site on the internet, and that's what porn is. But all this other stuff is not porn. Everything can be, almost anything can be porn. Anything that makes you desire sexual pleasure, anything that makes you desire this, or anything that makes you desire this, outside of God's design. There is a God's design in this. There is a God did design this. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Outside of God's design is absolutely evil. So, why do you suppose I did that? Amy?
Is it like the different needs that it can meet?
Mm-hmm.
So like girls I know care more about the relational intimacy and guys care more about the sexual pleasure. Maybe?
There is the words, yes, absolutely. The words physical intimacy can be sexual, you know. We could kind of mix the words around a little bit. They could kind of say the same thing. But Amy's absolutely right. Here's the dudes, and here's the gals. So, for you girls that may have shown up today thinking that I'm not going to address porn with girls, you are absolutely wrong. Every single thing that is said up here this morning applies to every single female in this room. What? This morning? You guys, we've been talking for 8 hours already. It's morning right now.
I mean, it's my morning.
Yeah, it's Aunt Tama's hat. Yeah. But I'm being completely honest, because we have this, one of the massive misconceptions about pornography here is that it's a guy's issue. Only guys struggle with pornography. And not only that, it's like the girls are just like, oh, it's so gross. Guys, that's not the case. You girls are no further off the hook than us guys. And we'll talk more about that. Okay, so let's list. Do I want to do that yet? Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. If I have to go back to it, I gotta go back to it. Okay. So you tell me, guys. What is anything that you have witnessed, not saying you have to admit your own personal issues here, but what is anything that can be used to cause sexual pleasure or physical relational intimacy?
Would like those romance books you see in TV shows sometimes be a thing?
50 Shades of Grey. What else?
Photography online.
What else?
Videos.
Okay.
We just, what I just said the same thing.
Man, so lying with each other. Okay, what else?
Lyrics of some music? Probably.
Say it again.
Like some song lyrics are
Ooh.
oriented towards it, I'd say.
Yep. That's not an L.
YouTube.
The lyric?
What else?
Immodestly dressed people. And depending on the level of depravity, even modestly dressed people.
It's a very good point. Very good point.
How about sexual music?
Yep, for sure. Along with those lyrics.
Yapping to your sheets.
What else?
A look or like like
Flirting?
huh?
Flirting?
Well, no.
No.
Even otherwise use
What?
women.
I'm gonna throw that one up here. Flirting.
Okay.
Okay. Were you thinking of something else, James?
Yeah. Well, like for instance, David looking at the girl in the lake.
Ah. The glance. And not looking away. I'll just do that.
Second word, yeah.
Be careful when you're looking at a castle at night. You know it's a problem for all of us.
Second look. Okay. What else?
Masturbation. That's a tough one.
That goes on both sides. What else? Aaron.
What about like sex toys or stuff like that?
Sure. Okay, now, so far, for the most part, we're looking at pretty kind of obvious stuff. Online videos, pictures, romance novels, toys. You know, lyrics is a good one here. What about like the magazine rack at Hy-Vee?
Yeah.
You don't have to look at, you don't have to read the magazine.
Oh, wait,
Like these are, I mean, just a fashion magazine.
I don't know if this is technical in your videos, but movies, like, very subtle, because people would think, oh, a guy rips his shirt off, like, no one's gonna stumble
Right.
on that, but
Yep,
those can.
yep. We're talking G movies can have it sometimes. But
Game of Thrones.
yeah, the quote unquote innocent movies can totally have pornography in it. What else?
I have a question. This
Yeah.
might be wrong, but what about like touching? Like just, is that pornography or is that?
I'm going to say yes because we'll get to a verse later. But yes, I'm going to say anything that causes this outside of God's plan, anything that causes this outside of God's plan is pornography. Aaron.
About prostitution.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to put this, but making out.
Yep. I'll just do touching will cover everything in that category.
I was wondering, while we're doing this, can we do a separate list or like draw a line on the board and say, I don't know about for sexual pleasure, but for at least physical relational intimacy, is there things that are within God's design that maybe we should be, so on the flip side, so we're looking at all the negative things, avoid this, avoid.
Yep.
Can we do a list to flip it too and start thinking about just some practical items, start listing out practical items, so like, hanging out with godly people. This, right here,
Right.
is good physical relational intimacy, I guess, might
Yep.
be an alternative type thing.
Yep.
So what are some other things that we could list on those?
Yep.
Sexual pleasure, I can't think of anything, but on the other side, I don't know, what do you guys think of these?
Indeed. Yeah, we can do that. Let's stick up here for a few more because we are not hitting the bottom of the barrel with this.
Oh, okay.
You guys are seriously that innocent? You're playing on me here. Aaron.
Molestation.
Huh?
Molestation.
On the station. Yeah.
Are you talking about things like exhibitionism or like voyeurism?
I'm talking about anything that can cause you to desire physical pleasure. Anything.
Video games.
Video games. Thank you. There we go, boys. Now we're getting somewhere.
I don't want to admit it though.
I know. That's a tough one.
Fetishes?
Yep. What else?
Social media?
See? We're getting somewhere now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What about your favorite TV shows? Guys,
White collar, yeah.
I'm self-admitted that I absolutely love The Office, but there's porn in The Office. There are several episodes where that is specifically what it's targeting, is getting me to desire that. It's true.
Is that how people get hooked into a TV show?
Oh, it's a huge part of it. Guys, think about Super Bowl commercials. You watch the Super Bowl, like kind of like the typical Super Bowl commercials that are all about sex. Completely about sex.
Yeah.
You got the Hardee's commercials, the beer commercials.
Dorito.
What's that? Shampoo, herbal essences.
When Janet Jackson came out with Coke.
Yeah. So, yep. So listen to me when I say this. Our culture is a pornographic culture. Do you understand? Our culture, everywhere we look, there's porn. Out the front picture window of my house, there are people that run by in a sports bra. That's pornography. Okay? We are surrounded by it. When we look at these commercials, like what we just talked about, that where they're using sex to sell their product, I'd say the opposite is even more true. That their product is selling sex more than it is selling their product. Because personally, when I watch that Hardee's commercial, I'm not too tempted to eat that burger. You know what I'm saying?
Hardee's is disgusting. You're right.
Yeah, because Hardee's is fairly disgusting. But, we tracking? I don't want to get too out of line here, but keep things as serious as possible. But that's the truth. Our culture is absolutely selling us sex. Our culture is experiencing a big, fat void, and they're going, what is going to fill the void? Here's the problem. There's no meaning in life. I got a solution. Everybody have lots of sex. That's what our culture is trying to get us to do. That is the solution to the American culture is, Aaron.
I was thinking about maybe if we could address like how, now I think this is, I don't know if I'm correct in my statistics, but how like teen birth rate I think is increased since like, before, I don't know, or maybe we can just talk in general about like maybe teen pregnancy and maybe pregnancy before marriage. Would that be something we could hit on or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if I jumped.
Yes, and we'll get, and that's not specifically necessarily for the pornography talk, but as we talk more about relationship stuff,
Okay.
Man, we'll spend the whole night on that probably.
Okay.
Okay. James?
Strip club.
Yep. Strip club.
I really didn't want to say it, but
I know. This is our culture. Not only that, but, geez. Think of your favorite TV show. Think of your favorite 3 TV shows. I bet you can think of an episode where a strip club was in it. And this is like taboo. This is really taboo to us, you know? It's like, not the strip club, but your favorite 3 TV shows probably have a scene or 2 in them. But you would never go to a strip club. But your TV show, it's just a scene. Okay. I am no stranger to this at all. In my 36 years of life, I have been addicted to pornography probably 10 of those years. Addicted. Not just struggled with it, but addicted. Gotta look at it at least once a day. Addiction, okay? That's me. I'm gonna ask a question. I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot unless you choose to be on the spot, okay? But I'm just gonna ask this question. If there is a guy in this room that has not pursued pornography, if you are that person, you don't have to stand up. But if there is a man in this room that hasn't pursued that is a rare individual. Anybody want to put themselves on the spot? And you guys are the cream of the crop of the church. This is a huge epidemic in the church. Our culture, this American church, the way we are not far enough from our culture. We totally embrace our culture. We totally embrace it. Our favorite TV shows, but it's so funny. It's so funny. Get a million jokes from that show. Or whatever it is. Jack and Shirley, where it was a couple down in Joplin. Some of you've heard this, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I don't know if I've shared it specifically with anybody in this room. One of my favorite experiences that I got down in Joplin from that church that was full of legalism and bitterness and angry people that wanted to hurt me. One of the best experiences ever was Jack and Shirley, 85-year-old couple. And I preached a series on confession. And in the middle of that series, I think it was like 4 sermons or something, and sermon 3, at the end of that sermon, Shirley is a wreck, 85-year-old woman, bawling her eyes out. Sermon closes, pray, she rushes the stage, and collapses on me. We had to sit. And she bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled. Couldn't even speak. And while she was doing that, her husband started playing harmonica in like 3rd row, Amazing Grace, on his harmonica as his wife is confessing to me. I'm a fake person. Everybody thinks all this about me. None of it's true. I'm bitter. I'm blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The following week, did the last sermon on confession. The following week, Jack comes up to me. It's okay. Normally this guy wanted to confront virtually everything I preached from the pulpit. Well, son, you're not right on that. So I was expecting to, He comes up to me and he says, I need you to come out to my house. I said, okay. Because I have a porn addiction. And I'd like you to come out to my place and we can get rid of all my porn together. 85 years old. Still struggling with porn. And that's a dude that didn't grow up in the culture you've grown up in. That's a dude that didn't have instant access. This is a Christian man who's been in the church for his entire life. been a leader, been an elder in the church his entire life, and he's addicted to it. Your struggle that you have now, get used to it. You're going to have this fight the rest of your life. And I'm not just talking to the guys, with the girls too. You are going to struggle with this your whole life. Now, I'm not saying you won't win. I'm not saying you can't have victory, because indeed, you can have victory over this. You don't have to lose this battle. Satan is going to tell you every single day that you struggle with this, he's going to tell you that you can't win. That's absolute garbage. You can win this. I promise you, you can win this if you fight. But he tells us we can't win. And then so we just put our guard down. Oh, this is just the way it's going to be. Man, I've struggled with this for 10 years. I'm never going to get over it. I might as well just embrace it. It's garbage. You can win this. There are millions of Christians who have struggled and struggled and struggled and fought and fought and fought and won this battle. You can win this battle. So, I want to give you something else here that, especially along the lines of, we've had some questions here, different types of pornography. We've got this fetishes thing here. That stuff, this stuff happens, okay? For the sake of being honest, it's okay to say, let's go ahead and name some fetishes. Just name them. It doesn't have to be yours or anything like that. Name some fetishes.
BDSM.
Which stands for?
Bondage, domination, sadomasochism.
Okay, bondage.
What is it for?
Thank you, Deanna. A fetish is something that people focus on to help them achieve sexual climax. So it could be that the simple ones for guys, the typical things for guys are from the feminine anatomy, boobs, butt, legs, okay? That's typical for that. But not everybody has that. Not all guys fetish on that. It can be feet. It can be ankles. It can be an article of clothing. It can be what you do, like the bondage thing. Guys, that's normal. I'm not kidding you. The bondage thing, it is normal. There are so many people that deal with that, but they keep it secret. There are people that I've counseled with that have struggled mightily with this, and it took them 15 years to admit it. They've been in counseling forever. I'm not admitting that. That's too dirty. That's too nasty. That's too ugly. That's too shameful. But when we grow up in a culture like we do, and we have the past that we have, and we have the injuries that we have, these things develop. Here's one example, okay? This is a guy, it's not here, okay? So I'm not talking about anybody here. But there's a 20-year-old college student, okay? I won't say his name. Not a part of Cedar Rapids, though. But here's what he would do, okay? Now, the reason why I share this with you is because I don't doubt that there's people in this room that have a similar struggle. I don't doubt it. I really don't. It would not surprise me at all if some of you in your secret lives have something similar. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Before you read this, I'm actually going to leave because I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be completely open. I'm not going to listen. I'll be back in like 10 minutes now.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate your honesty. 21-year-old college student, okay? What he would do is he would save his money, and he would go to an outlet store, and he would buy a woman's fur coat. So he'd save up $300-400. He'd go to a woman's store, he'd buy a fur coat, then he would come home, and he would get himself to climax by rubbing himself on the coat. He would spill his seed on this expensive coat, contaminating it. Then he would feel totally ashamed and completely wrecked over his own depravity. This is a Christian kid. Loved the Lord. Completely wrecked over his depravity, and he would go and burn the coat or throw it away, get rid of it. Then he would go through the cycle again. He would do it again. He'd save up his money, $300-400, go buy a fur coat, do his thing, get rid of the coat, save up his money. He was an absolute wreck over himself. Can you imagine how you may feel if that is the thing that you were doing? How can I not stop this? This is so weird. Why am I being so weird? And that's what all these people that deal with this stuff, that's what all of them feel. I'm so dirty. I'm so weird. I'm so... And that's what they do. Now, in counseling, you ask the 20-year-old kid, how does that fur coat make you feel? When you first go to that store and you grab that fur coat, what's it make you feel? Undoubtedly, unbelievably comforted, warm, embraced. Where have you felt that before? I used to watch movies with my mom in her fur coat, bawling, because he finally connected it. That's what caused it. That's why he's weird. The reason why he's weird is because he loves his mother. Guess what happened when he was 9 years old? His mom died. He loved his mother, and his mother and him on cold nights, she'd grab him and wrap him up in her big expensive fur coat, and they'd watch a movie together. She gets in a car accident, he dies. Then he reaches puberty, he's loved his, things happen in puberty. Our sexuality is directly linked. By God's design, our sexuality is directly linked to our relationships. That's why this happened. Because as he went through puberty and he started to develop sexually, his greatest emotional need went to sexuality. If you struggle with pornography, I'm telling you, you're struggling with relationship. That's your issue. Your issue is relationships. It is not that you are dirty and nasty and weird. It's that you struggle with your relationships. You have a need. You have a big old massive need that you're trying to meet. The fetishes, this stuff, the different types and the fetishes, a lot of times, especially if it's something kind of odd, like I gotta have a certain article of clothing, or it's a specific kind of odd body part or something. A lot of times that's directly linked to something in the past. It's just the way it is. So, okay. Let's talk about when a guy looks at porn, okay? Talk about the guys first, and then we'll talk about the girls. We're going to hit the guys a little harder, simply because it's easier to hit the guys harder.
Alright, so you gonna do us like that.
I'm gonna do you like that, Damien. But, as we talk about this, not everything about the guys applies to the girls, okay? Not everything. Not everything applies, but most of it does. Most of what I'm going to say here about the guys does indeed apply to the girls. Okay. When a guy looks at porn, is this a point? When a guy looks at porn, ultimately it is about his what?
Relationships.
Close. But different from women, so I was going male and female. Both are relationships, but yes. Manhood. Okay? Let's put that up there. Okay. Okay, where was I?
When a guy was born.
When a guy looks at porn, ultimately it is about his manhood. Okay? there are, the stereotype, there's this common question. How come when a guy sleeps with 10 girls, all his buddies praise him for it? Oh, you're such a stud, a big man. Nah. But when a girl sleeps with 10 guys, she's labeled a slut. Okay, everybody knows, right? Everybody knows. What in the world? Because when a guy looks at porn, it's directly linked to his manhood. When a guy is pursuing women, it is directly linked to his manhood. The more he can get, the more he can have, the more man he is. Okay? So, for guys, this isn't necessarily the same for girls. The girls do have a little bit of this, but not like the guys do. For the guys, it is much more of an animalistic drive, which is part of our makeup. It's part of our wiring. It's God-given to us. It is not evil that we have a sex drive. It is not evil that we typically have more of a sex drive than females. There's nothing wrong with that. It is God's design for us. It is God's design for our marriages. It's for God's design for our pleasure and fulfillment. Nothing wrong with guys having an animal drive. It's not so much about, when we talk about sex and pornography, it's not so much about love for guys. It's more about the drooling. Just wanting that. It's kind of like a deer in rut, that's why all these deer get hit in the fall, because they're stupid. They're going through rut and they're not thinking clearly. They're dumb. They're idiots. They're stupid, and they run out in front of cars because there's a doe on the other side of the street. Okay? Four guys, and you guys know that from the way you've lived and growing up in our society, oftentimes guys are labeled as dumb when thinking about their sex life. It's just dumb. It's stupid. They're dumbed down because they're like a deer in rut. They're just like some animal, crazed, hormonal, gotta have it thing, And there's a lot of truth to that. Guys, when they're in rut, can be very stupid. We can be incredibly stupid and not think straight. Okay. But honestly, for the most part, I don't even want to say for the most part, it can be, okay? It can be. And for most relationships, it is, for men, pretty mindless. Pretty mindless. Because it's not about love, it's just about, I just really, really want to feel good, really, really, really bad. For the most part, that's all it is for guys, is I want to feel really, really good, really, really bad. For the most part, that's what it is. But I think I made another point here. Yes, I did. There are a couple of things that are strange about this, though. One is, the more that a man thoroughly knows he's a man, the less he'll struggle with this. This is absolutely true. It's true for the ladies, too. The more you know you're a woman, the less you'll struggle with it. The more a man knows he's a man, the less he will struggle with pornography. Now, I'm not talking about some arrogant guy who's like, yeah, I'm the man, what's up? Not that. I'm not talking about some arrogant guy that thinks he's amazing. I guarantee you, that guy is probably a porn head,
And struggling with his
and struggling with his manhood. Yeah, massive. So, what I'm talking about is when a man really understands who he is in Christ and what Christ has made him to be, he doesn't go into rut. He just doesn't. Unless he starts wavering there. When other sin creeps in, then he can go, no man is safe here. But when a man is completely firm in who he is and his identity in Christ and how God has made him to be, He does not struggle with being stupid. He doesn't struggle with having to have it all the time, right now. And as a matter of fact, his marriage sex life is amazing. Because when he goes to bed with his wife, he's not just doing it because he wants to feel really, really good, really, really bad. A marriage that's that's why guys are asking their wives to have sex with them. And in that case, it's just sex. And as you girls get older, you will have all of your friends coming to you and saying things like, I don't want to have sex with him. I don't want to have sex with him. It just doesn't feel like love. It just feels like I'm a piece of meat. It's just like, he just takes advantage of me and I just lay there and that's all it is. All your girlfriends, that's what's going to happen to you. So prepare yourselves for an answer for that. Because this is going to be very, very real. But if the man knows he's a man, one, he'll be treating you right. He'll be treating you right. And not only that, he's going to want you when you are emotionally connecting. I hope you guys come back and watch this video in like 5-10 years. When he is emotionally connecting with you, that is when he'll be turned on and ready to go. And the same will be, it'll be both ways. Rather than just a guy saying, gotta have it, gotta have it, gotta have it, and the woman going, really? You don't love me.
Mothers be tripping when you do that. I'm like, in the culture, you be a girlfriend, you gotta get a number. And I see some guys calling these girls, guys so godly names, like, y'all know, I'm not even gonna say it, so that's what I don't like.
Yeah. Let's see. The truth is, every guy, every single guy, regardless of who you are, the truth is every guy is going to struggle with the animal drive within. Okay. Guys that really struggle with their manhood, that have this ridiculous drive when they're always in rut. Those guys typically, the reason they're there in that spot when they don't know who they are as a man, usually they've got daddy issues. You know, for the most part, dad wasn't around, or dad left, or dad was a jerk, or dad and mom got divorced, or there's some other thing going on with men where it wasn't good for him. And so he doesn't understand his own manhood the way that he would and should have if his dad had done the right job. Jordan.
Do you mind if I take the story of David Bathsheba and pull out some points that you're exactly talking about? Pull out some points from it that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, first of all, I know you guys probably all know the story of David and Bathsheba by heart, but what Ben's talking about here is really cool. He's talking about, a person's manhood, guy's manhood, and that's something that we all strive for. We strive for our manhood. So, the book of Samuel goes through and it talks about how David develops as a man, right? He chops Goliath's head off, and he keeps his skull on his chariot, right? And he keeps his sword, and all throughout his life it's talking about his accomplishments. He's got a clear purpose. He's going after it, right? And then here it starts in chapter 11, 2 Samuel chapter 11, it says, in the springtime, at the time when kings go off to war, right? David sent Joab out with the king's men. So David's at home, right? You guys might not have heard it from this perspective before, you might have, but I guess my point here is that when a man's bored, when a man's away from his vocation, he's dangerous. For me personally, this is the time when I'm most vulnerable. I'm most vulnerable when I don't know what I'm doing. And now I'm not saying that staying busy is an answer to this, but staying busy is definitely a way to fight this. But I'll give it back to you. Sorry, Ben.
No, you're good. Absolutely, I appreciate that. Okay. The other thing about this that's interesting with guys is that sex is about relationship even when it's mindless. Okay? Even when it is mindless, it's still about relationship. It's always filling a relational void. Oh, that's a blank.
Oh.
I just remembered that. Yeah. I should have put the blanks on here, but It's always about relationships. It's always about fulfilling that void every single time. It's never anything but that. So in marriages where the wife rejects the husband in bed, you can pretty much guarantee, if I can have everybody's attention, in your marriages, especially speaking to women here, because this is something that's incredibly common, even in the church, is you'll have that conversation with your girlfriends, and your girlfriend's gonna say, I don't want to do it with him. I just don't. It's not making love. I just lay there and he takes care of his business and I feel like a piece of meat. They say that, and then what happens is you give them the worst advice in the world and you say, well, just tell him no. That's your body. Just tell him no. That is the worst advice that any girl could give any wife, okay? You do that, you're going to shut your husband down, and that rut is going to skyrocket, and he is going to end up struggling all the more massively trying to rein in the animal drive within that is God-given. Don't give him the opportunity to stray from you. Don't give him, make no provision for the flesh. You reject him, you are begging for a world of hurt. So, but of course this isn't about marriage. We'll continue to talk about pornography rather than marriage, but go ahead.
But on the flip side, it's the guy's responsibility to keep
Yeah.
an emotional relationship stable and keep an emotional connection stable.
Absolutely.
It's totally our responsibility.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. And in marriage, you will spend the first decade of your marriage trying to figure out how much more can I really give to make this work? Because you'll be giving and giving and giving, and you'll be feeling like she's not turning into the woman I want her to be. And the women will be giving and giving and giving, and he's not turning into the man you want him to be. But eventually it starts working out. As long as you play your role. So girls, I'm not saying that it's all one-sided, and that's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is, you play your role, and you play it to the best of your ability, because you can't change your husband. And if you try to change him, that's one way that women try to change their husbands. Fine, you ain't getting it then. And it don't work. Guys and girls, every time you try to control and change your spouse, it's going to backfire. You will be miserable because you try to change them. Don't do it. Play your role. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, respect your husband. Keep going, you know. Okay. All right. Guys are done. Time to talk about the ladies.
This is where we all get up and leave.
All right. Girls, I want you to. I'm not here to talk about explicit things as much as you may think that all I want to do is talk about explicit things. I don't want to talk about explicit things. I want to talk about your heart. And I want the guys in this room to understand your heart, okay? So, I'll just talk, and girls, you are not obligated by me to say anything at all. As a matter of fact, if all you want to do is object to what I say, because frankly you're a girl and I'm not.
Are you sure?
Newsflash, not a girl. So if you want to object to what I have to say, or if you want to clarify what I have to say, please do. This stuff that's coming from me is coming from the ministry that I've done with women, ministry that my wife has done with women. So here's my understanding of it. Girls, you can either agree and add to it, and not say a thing, or you can object, or you can ask clarifying questions. This is where the guys sit there and shut up and you don't say a word, because the girls will get mad at you if you do. Okay, so, or you'll hurt their feelings.
That's a more like.
Just leave it up to me. I'm the one that will hurt all their feelings right now. You guys can all laugh at me in a second when they attack me. Okay. All right. Differences between guys and girls. Okay, so for guys, the struggle is nearly universal. Okay, simply because we do have that animal drive that's in us. That's not a good word for it, because we are not animals. But we do have that instinct, that procreate-ness thing. Girls have it too, but it's different. So anyway, the drive. That's all I'm saying. Guys have that drive, and so across the board, it's nearly universal that guys will struggle with lust and pornography. There is one man that I knew personally that didn't fall to this temptation, ever. His name was Josh, and he was my best friend's college roommate. And my best friend said, this guy Josh, he doesn't look at porn, he hasn't looked at it, he never has, he says he never will. And I'm like, whatever, never met one yet. That's not true. Of course he's looking at it, he's just lying to you, you know. I meet this kid, and I'll tell you this, his dad was probably one of the most impressive men I've ever met. He absolutely loved the Lord. He was a ridiculous man. That's a big clue in Josh's ability to fight. But Josh had never looked at porn. Much to my buddy's, unfortunately, he had tried to show him some stuff, and he's like, no, don't need it. It is possible. That's the one guy I've met where he's like, nope, never done it. And I won't, like, now maybe he has since then, but, so anyway, it is possible. But anyway, we do have that that drive. We have that drive, and so it is pretty much universal. Now, would Josh admit to struggling with impure thoughts, like, ooh, ugh? Yeah, has struggled with lust to some degree. Okay. Now, girls, I don't know if I have this on there. 50% of women have struggled with porn, and that by that I mean explicit images and videos. So 50% of women have struggled with porn. Is that on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you use our definition, my definition of porn that I just erased, desire for sexual pleasure or for relational, physical intimacy, how many girls struggle with that?
At least 100%.
Probably 100%. And the reason I say that is because that's pornography too. And the best thing you girls can do is change your definition of pornography, because that's what it is. It is giving your heart to something else for sensual fulfillment. That is not yours. It's not theirs. You can't give that. It's idolatry. Okay. When a girl views porn, okay, and what I mean by that is explicit images and videos, not just the relational sensuality. When a girl views porn, it's not for the same reason as a guy. She'll view it, she'll look at it, she'll watch it, she'll have fulfillment from it, but it's not the same kind of fulfillment that a guy gets. So, if a guy's struggle with pornography is about his manhood, what is a girl's struggle with pornography about? Very good. Very good. Guys are doing a good job keeping your mouths shut. When a girl views porn, it's not for the same reason as a guy. It's about giving her... Now, girls, I want you to listen very, very carefully to what I say right here. This is probably the biggest thing I'll say about the girl's struggle with pornography. So you guys can either object, agree, add other statements, do nothing, shake your heads, nod, whatever you want to do. But here's probably the big statement as far as defining pornography for girls, okay? It is about giving herself to a man, being loved deeply and intimately by that man. It is about knowing him. It is about him knowing her completely and accepting her completely and longing to have her. It is about having this hero of a man, okay? Not just any man, but this hero of a man, this amazing man. It's about having this hero of a man place her in his heart as the object of his affection and or worship. I'll read that again.
So long.
I'll read it again.
That doesn't fit.
I hope the guys are listening too. I hope you guys are listening too. When girls do pornography, and I'm not just talking about explicit images, I'm talking about the fantasy stuff that we'll talk about here in a second. But when they do that, it is about giving herself to a man, okay? She is giving herself completely to this man. Not just some of herself. She is giving all of herself. She is giving every last drop of herself to this man. Being loved deeply and intimately by that man. It is about him knowing her completely, knowing every last drop of her completely, and accepting her completely. Not only that, it's a longing he has for her. It's his biggest longing, his biggest desire is to have all of her intimately like that. Having this hero of a man place her in his heart as the object of his affection and or worship. No. In a moment. Girls, you have anything to say or do or throw at me?
Have this pen Jaden gave me.
I do it for fun. Not for a reason.
You can. Carry a water bottle with me.
It won't be now.
I feel like you stated a whole lot of why we do it, but not what we get from it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll continue.
Okay.
So, are there any girls that would object to what I just said? Any girls that would like to affirm me in being correct?
Ben, that was really good.
Guys, you have no idea how hard that is for me to say that stuff. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, no. Not done talking about women yet. There's a blank?
Yeah, where is it?
Reason?
Oh, yeah, it's not for the same reason that a guy uses porn. So, reason, guy. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about fantasy here for a little bit, because fantasy is typically the girl's version of porn. Okay, it's usually mentally playing something out. Okay, I shouldn't even say usually. About half, close to half of women use explicit material, and the other half, it's fantasy. Okay, what I want to talk about with fantasy is that women will go places in their mind, and what they go there for. I just said why they go there. But the reason that what they're going there for is for tremendous comfort, peace, and affection. That's what they get out of it. They get this tremendous fulfillment from this fantasy. They will fantasize about their hero, and usually, frankly, the hero is somebody in their life. And not only that, but usually, actually, let me just read it because I'll botch it here. Usually it is a person in their life who they think can be the man of their dreams. And in order to attain this comfort, this peace, and affection in the fantasy, what they do is they envision him being something that he is indeed not. It's not who he really is. But to fulfill their fantasy, to get that affection, pleasure, and comfort, they make him, in their mind, be this guy who has the perfect response to everything, the most caring response to everything. Whatever they need to get that, that's what they'll do. Truth is, that is a fantasy. He is not who she is making him to be in her mind. No man is. It's just as big of a lie as a guy looking at some hottie on the screen and fantasizing that he's doing her. It's the same thing. It's a lie. It's a fantasy. Whether it be with guys or whether it be with girls, it's both a lie. So, how? Any comments, questions? Done talking about the girls.
I'll send that to James.
Yeah. Got another blank? A woman's struggle with porn is about her womanhood.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's
What about the last one? How can we make each other?
the last blank is how can we protect each other, but we're not there yet. Okay, any questions or comments?
And also, well, I don't know if I remember this, but I how you brought up about guys with guys that get all girls and they think he's a player, he's cool. I disagree because that's not the way how Jesus would live.
Right.
And they look at girl, look at girls say she got a boyfriend, they think she's a, I don't want to say it, but I was like, either way, like, the thing about relationships, people be wanting a girlfriend or boyfriend or something, but they don't realize also, when you be in a relationship, you gotta take your relationship serious. And they think it's about playing games. They think it's about a free ride.
Yeah. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Yeah, also,
Yes, that's right. I just called every girl a cow.
Now you're gonna get thrown at you.
Go ahead, finish.
also relationships, if you're gonna be in a relationship, take it serious and also be committed to it, and also be committed to have Jesus in it too.
Absolutely, he's got to be the center.
Because if you don't, then you're not gonna be in danger of hell.
Yep. Aaron.
Okay, so I'm trying to relate this to the relational component or visualize it. So is that kind of why, like, I don't know, in those 80s like movies, you see like in a girl's room you'll see a picture of a guy on the wall versus in a guy's room you see a picture of boobs on the wall. I mean that's the scenario, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Is that kind of a good relation to that component about how guys are more focused on the objects and more of kind of like how they'll fulfill, and girls are more focused on the actual like person?
Yeah, they're interested in a hero.
Hero. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh, what did I miss?
I was singing Hero from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say Hero from Shrek, but
Any other comments? Questions? Elaborations? Okay. Like I said, this is a huge topic. I think I probably hit the hardest stuff to hit, said the hardest things to say. But, okay, so How can we protect each other? Aaron.
We well, I can talk. Okay. We can protect each other by loving each other through Christ instead of loving each other as objects. I don't know if that.
Okay. What else?
I would say, especially as guys correcting other guys and girls correcting other girls, to affirm them and who they are as a man and a woman.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that completely.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. I agree. To affirm them as a man or woman, expound on that as far as what you think would be good.
Well,
Or anybody can, I guess. There's a lot of people that agree.
going back to your definition where you talked about, that was really good. When a girl looks for a man, she wants to give herself completely to that man, a hero of a man. So the girl's fully known by the man and he fully accepts her. I think those two parts are really key. So learning about that person and accepting, reaffirming to them, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Like, Damien, you're great at taking photos. That's awesome. I'm glad you do that. It's affirming who they tell you they want to be.
Good.
And who they are acting out. And as you affirm that they become better at what they do.
Okay, agree.
And then also just reminding them how Christ sees them, because nobody on earth is going to like affirm the women, accept the women, or like just who we are in Christ, because that is the perfect equivalent of that.
Yeah. I'm going to add one thing here. And I bet you there may be discussion over this. One thing I'm going to shoot here is for this affirming of one another. I didn't even write it down because I have questions. As we affirm each other, we have to be careful with this, especially with the guys and the girls. Because if a girl gets affirmed and affirmed and affirmed and affirmed by a particular guy, she's going to think, maybe he's interested in me because he keeps complimenting me and he keeps, and then you'll be tempting her to fantasize. You'll be tempting her to think, maybe I need to turn this man into something he's not so that I can have my... You tracking with me? Yeah. Girls, same thing with guys. You give the guys too much attention, too much affirmation, he's going to be like, and you'll put him in rut, okay? Don't be putting guys in rut. I'll slap you.
No, I ain't turning, don't do that.
Okay. All right. What else? What other ways we can protect each other? Damien.
I kind of like being brother or being protecting like your brother or your sister.
Yes, indeed. That's to this one. Now, also, when you are affirming each other, or like, what if I have something really, really good to say about Sarah Wynette? Should I not say it? Or should I say it? Not just for me, but if you have something that you really appreciated, like, man, you never...
Well, I can just say it.
So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to make everybody in the room totally afraid to give a compliment to the opposite sex, okay? I'm not doing that. It's okay to compliment them. I'm just saying be careful. You don't have to give them 5 every night because, well, then everybody's going to know what your agenda is.
That's really
All right.
So how do you do that without making that happen? You just don't.
How do you compliment someone?
You're talking to a boy, say bro or man, like, yo bro, you're so cool, bro.
Depends on who you're talking to. That might be like the hottest thing in the world to some guys. Be careful. I don't know. Okay, what else? What are other ways we can protect each other? Good advice.
throw something.
What are other ways we can protect each other?
Modesty.
Modesty.
Modest is hottest. Write that, please. That's my favorite saying.
Modest is hottest.
Yes.
Good job.
Alright, we're good, we're good. Okay. I don't remember what my question was. Yeah, accountability, I agree. Okay, let's move on to, does anybody else have any big ones that they've been waiting to say? Peter does.
Pray for yourself, for all the guys, for all the girls.
Indeed. Jade.
Boundaries. Yes.
Woo! Woo!
Jade nailed it.
No.
Oh, I shouldn't compliment him.
Bro. Okay, alright. We don't need to. It's okay, it was only one. It's fine. Alright. Okay, I think I talked about flirting a little bit. Yeah, just that you don't want the girls to be thinking something. You don't want to tempt them to do porn. Because that's what you are doing. You are tempting them to do porn.
Another one is watching your own heart, because if you don't, your attitudes can accidentally affect other people. I guess that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. I wish you would expound on it.
Like,
Give an example.
if you're not straight in these areas, then no. If you are not, if your heart's not right in these areas, for example, you, like we're talking about, accidentally causing the opposite sex to be attracted to us or whatever.
Right.
You can do that if your heart's not right, you can do that more easily, I think.
Yeah, if you walk into the room and you're in rut, you may just need to throw some water on yourself before you interact with girls.
It's kind of conspicuous.
All the girls are like,
Water or deodorant or
Does
All right.
Does that give us permission to dump a bucket of water over your head before you enter?
Every time.
Just in case, you never know.
You never know. Okay. On the back, I think we're actually, look at this one, I think we're actually going to be done here. On the back, Romans 13:14.
Well, it's done.
I'm just gonna go. Here's a few verses for you, and I think we'll talk some more next time about this. But here's a pretty decent start. Romans 13:14. Put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. What are some ways that you make provision for the flesh?
Purposely do things that make you stumble.
Yep.
You're asking for it.
What else?
Refusing to give up things that make you stumble.
Boom! Something makes you stumble, but you just refuse to give it up. It's just one strip club scene. It's just... Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. I want every guy and girl, not just guys. I'm going to read some of these verses out of Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. But girls, I want you to understand that you can be this. This is something you can be. You can be the adulteress. You can be the harlot. But also, girls, because the text is obvious for guys. For girls, it's not as obvious. Girls, you need to realize you can be the harlot. You can be the one in this that David is talking about. Solomon is talking about. And girls, you can also do the same thing and have a guy be the harlot in this passage. Okay? So, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen to my words of insight that you may maintain discretion for your lips, and your lips may preserve knowledge. For the lips of an adulteress drip honey. Her speech is smoother than oil, but in the end she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Girls, I talked to you about this when I met with you. What did I say right after that?
The only other thing that's a double-edged sword is the Bible.
There are two things in Scripture that are called the double-edged sword. One is Scripture, the other is the adulteress. That is of note. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. She gives no thought on the way of her life. Her paths are crooked, but she doesn't know it. Keep to a path far from her. What do you think it looks like to keep to a path that is far from her?
This.
You left his stuff. Okay.
Well, Joseph left his coat.
Yep.
Joseph did leave his coat. All right, let me move on to chapter 6.
And that's 6.
Yes, chapter 7. Here's what the harlot. Okay, now girls, and I'll say this too. This actually, in my mind, more captivates the female fantasy life than it does the guys. This particular one. I have covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink deep of love until morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. My husband is not at home. He is gone on a long journey. He took his purse filled with money, and he won't be home until full moon. With persuasive words, she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. At once he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose, till an arrow pierces his liver like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. Proverbs 5 and 7 just killed me. Okay. Ephesians 5:3. But among you there must not be even a hint of sexual immorality. Not even a hint of sexual immorality. And Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, he said, if you even look at a woman lustfully, it is adultery, right? If your right eye causes you to stumble,
Look out.
if your right hand causes you to stumble,
Look out.
now, here's the deal. Here's what Jesus is getting at, okay? This is kind of my last thought, I think. Yeah, it is. It will be, I promise. Unless you have questions. But what Jesus is getting at here, when he says if your right eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. He is saying ditch anything that causes you to stumble. Jade.
It also says, and cast it from you.
Very good.
Don't keep your cash out on your pocket.
I see you. Now, here's what, don't you wish it were that simple though, guys, you know? Because frankly, I don't need illicit images. I don't need any movies. I don't need anything to lust. All I need is my imagination. And I can't exactly remove that. I suppose I could, the body or something. So it is not as easy. You know, Origen, one of our early church fathers, he took this passage literally, and he cut his own thingy off. Literally, he did that. He became a eunuch He's a tremendous theologian, but not on this passage.
If anything, it's
And the truth is, he admitted very quickly that didn't work. It didn't solve the problem. It's in the mind. But what Jesus is saying, okay, so to take care of your mind, whatever causes you to stumble, get rid of it. If it's a smartphone, if it's the internet, if it's Netflix, if it's video games, if it's your favorite TV show, whatever it is that causes you to stumble, cut it off and cast it from you. Have nothing to do with it. The reason we struggle so much, like I said at the beginning of this, is because of... Give me that.
Sure.
So I tell you this, and I insist on it in the Lord. This isn't Paul making a suggestion. This is not him just saying, maybe you should consider. That's not it. He's saying, I insist. You no longer live as the Gentiles do in the futility of their thinking. They're darkened in their understanding, separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. They've lost all sensitivity. Do you think you've lost sensitivity because you've been living in this world and you keep doing all the same things that the rest of the world does? Have you lost sensitivity? Do you care? Do you care? That's the big question. Do you care about whether or not you follow the Lord and follow Him wholeheartedly, or do you just be like, well, I really love the Lord, but man, I don't really love my TV. I love my Netflix. I love my video games. I love my smartphone. I love my whatever. If you care, you will cut it off. Whatever it takes. It won't matter. If you love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, there is nothing that you should be like, oh, I really hate giving this up. Okay. Questions? Comments?
There goes Facebook.
Get rid of Facebook. Just ditch it. Facebook's the stupidest thing in the world. It doesn't help anybody. I'm honest. I insist on... Okay, except for Core. Leave the Core Facebook up.
There's be nobody on it. That's really hard.
So much for that. Nobody does that.
Alright. Aaron.
Just for fun, I'm going to open a new can of worms.
Yay!
Alright.
Okay, I'm going to try and make this quick. We can take this into next time if we need to, but... Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, Ben. I want you to tell me what you think. Should pornography be made illegal?
Yes.
Okay. So here is my devil's advocate to this question.
So here we go.
Yeah. Okay, so you define pornography as things that make you lust, correct? Or, I mean, it's kind of a dubbed down definition. It's kind of something, okay. So I would say one person may lust to a nude scene on TV, while somebody else might lust to a video game. If we omitted everything from society that made every single person lust, would there be anything left?
Oh, heavens forbid we, read books. That'd be horrible.
Well, I mean, what if it says...
Heaven forbid we open our Bible at night instead of Facebook.
What if it said in a book, oh, she combed her hair, or she went to bed or something, and somebody lusted at that? That means that would have to be taken out. So, I mean, what would the limit be to outlawing pornography, or just in that sense, like lustful material?
As far as explicit material, that would be what I would refer to. Because as Peter said, I think, it doesn't matter. It could be modest clothes that cause a guy to stumble, or it could be immodest, either or. It doesn't matter. You could be covered in a burqa and have a guy, whoa, I think we should in-law burqas. Did you have something, Leah? Leah had something.
I was just gonna angel's advocate.
Angel's advocate.
Do you think we would struggle with all this if it didn't exist in the first place?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Do you think we would struggle with porn if it didn't exist in the first place?
Yes.
I would say...
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about if evil didn't exist, or just porn in general?
Anything that could cause our minds to go that way.
Okay, well, my thing would be evil causes us to lust when Adam took the apple and evil was created. That is, pornography is directly traced back to evil. So my thing is, if we didn't know evil, we would either know good, because you can't have one without the other. If there was no evil, good would not be a concept, it would just be how we're programmed. So
how about this? I just answered the question. Yeah, porn would still exist. Because we have flesh and really.
But would there be flesh if there's no evil?
Yes! Yeah, in our world, if porn were, if all of, everything that humanity had done to make a porn industry was removed and all of women were dressing modestly and there were no explicit images and things like that.
Yeah, that would be good. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you said if like porn was never a concept. Do you mean if we took away all the porn material, like every possible thing? Is that what you said?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, are you saying like if God never created evil to where there was no porn, or are you saying that porn was just masked by society?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Well, there would still be porn. I mean, have you ever heard of like jail sex, where men and women will have sex? No, just listen. Men and women will have sex with each other in jail, because in jail you're not allowed really to have any kind of relationship stuff. So men and women will try to do anything they can to have sex with each other because they're deprived from that sexual interface.
So it's about relationships.
Yes. So yes. To answer your question, yes. There.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I would say pornography's existed long before a computer screen.
Yeah.
When people had clay, they made figurines.
Yeah.
Ancient Roman graffiti was naked people on the
Or
wall.
Egyptians, you've seen, yeah.
I think we
So
really
it's-
need to erase that board really well.
Yes.
Children. Water bottle, please.
Okay, anything else?